Hey guys, what's up? Son of Chelsea back here again for 100% Chelsea. And me and Louis are here. We weren't at the game today, but just to let you know, the fan cams will be up very shortly from the game. Eunice, I also know Max was there. Also saw Max on the TV. I don't know if you did, Louis, but I saw him on the TV. So yeah, the fan cams will be up and very shortly, so you can go and watch them. But me and Louis here are going to be talking, giving some analysis of the game. How you doing, Louis?
Not too bad, mate. Not too bad. Yourself? You're good?
You know what? I mean, I got a bit of abuse on Twitter because of my reaction to today's game. Number one thing I want to say, to people, is there is this thing called humor, that can be used. Basically, firstly, I'll give my thoughts and then I'll jump it over to Louis and then we can have a discussion about what happened today. I don't feel that bad about the result. If you would have told me at the start of the day that it would be 0-0 and the performance we put in, yeah, sure, I wouldn't be bouncing off the walls, and I still am not bouncing off the walls. But, to go to a place like Tottenham in the form they're in, I think people think that for some reason, everyone except maybe with the exception of Arsenal, United, the normal big teams, that everyone else in the Premier League is a bunch of mugs, and you can just go over there and roll them over. That's just not the way the Premier League is anymore. And you look at the form Tottenham have been in recently and the fact that they destroyed West Ham last week. I don't think today's been a bad result. It's not amazing. It's not where we want to be as Chelsea. We want to be beating a team like Spurs. But at the same time, you've got to think of where we've been this season. And the fact is, I think, if you would have gone and you think about 3 clean sheets in a row, the defense is looking more solid. I think we can say Ivanovic looked more solid today. I think.
I thought he looked more solid last week.
Yeah.
He kept every time he got the ball on the edge. I just knew straight away. For example, the momentum we built up was one example when he thought, right, I'm going to try and take this person on, and he knew he couldn't. So then he started trying to do step overs, and we were going backwards, and they were putting pressure on.
No, I think in terms of going forward, I don't think he helps out. I think he put in one good cross today. Was it in the first half? I think he did put in a good cross, which was I was surprised on that. But yeah, I think at the back we definitely look more solid at the back. I think Hazard definitely was definitely. I thought he did well considering when I saw the team sheet, no striker. I thought the tactics were actually quite good in my opinion. I think the tactics of trying to catch Tottenham on the break. I think the problem is we've only had one shot on target, which is of course not very good. Tottenham had a lot more, but I don't think there was a lot in between. There weren't many chances where Tottenham had a clear-cut chance, where you think they should have scored.
Yeah, no, there's the one that hops out at me is Christian Eriksen in the first half. That's the only one that I can think of. Which
was it Christian Eriksen or Dembele?
It was Eriksen. I
think. What are you talking about? Where
it goes through and he catches it on his boot, and Begovic just stops it with his hands like that. Bosh.
Oh no, I swear that was Son.
You're right. Sorry,
it was Son. Yeah.
And then Eriksen did. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. So, but there was no clear. You wouldn't say through the period of the game that Tottenham had loads and loads of clear-cut chances. They had more shots on goal. They did have more possession. But to be honest, for me, it's not a massive step forward, but it's a step forward. I think that Jose will come out of that game feeling content with the fact that we've got a point. So Louis, you're just I'm not buzzing, as you can tell, but I'm happy because it's to go to a place like Tottenham at the moment in the form they're in. It's a good point. It's a better performance overall. What were your thoughts on today's game?
I completely agree with you. I think the game wasn't like the most interesting to watch for a neutral, but for me personally watching the game, I thought the false nines were good. I thought it was good for us because with the form that Tottenham have been in, like you're saying, but arguably I'd say currently their defence is the best in the Premier League. Alderweireld, Vertonghen, Lloris, and then you've got Dyer in that holding role. I think that's a very, very solid unit. And we gave them trouble because they didn't know who they were marking because we were playing that false nine. You had Willian, Oscar, Hazard and Pedro all interchanging the whole time. So, that worked out quite well. I was happy when Loftus-Cheek came on, as I'm sure you would be. And when Kennedy came on, he did get battered off the ball towards the end of the game. So, obviously he needs to work on his upper body strength a little bit if he's getting battered like that. I'm not buzzing, but the fact we didn't lose, I'm quite happy with the way, it's almost we're trying to build momentum, and it's sort of if you'd looked at this game 2-3 weeks ago and it'd been 2-3 weeks ago, that would have been a guaranteed loss. Like, definitely. But the way that Mourinho sat, you know how he likes to set out of his team. So if it's a difficult opponent, try and get a draw out of them. I think that's what he was after today, and I think we got what we needed. It's a case of can we maintain this and carry on moving with it with Bournemouth next week, obviously. Then we've got Porto, and then me and you've got that trip to Leicester. So me and Dan will definitely be at Leicester if any of you guys are going to be there. But I think today's result overall it's good for us, and it's just a case of building on it. I mean, I'm still taking every game as it comes. But like you say, not buzzing, but happy with the result.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've got to take... I got a brilliant comment on Twitter. I'll call this guy ACC, at ACC. I can't say the second part of the name, but anyway, he replied to one of my thoughts after the game with this: we don't just take the result away from the game. The performance from individuals is a major improvement. And I think that's one thing. And I'll say this to anyone who's trying to tell me that, well, you're easily satisfied as a supporter. And if we go and draw 0-0 in the exact same game next week to Bournemouth, I'm not going to be happy. None of us will. So this thing that I've seen for people saying that I'm just happy with a 0-0 every single week, I think is kind of wrong. I like to take games in what they are. Like individually. You know, I like to take games and try and analyse them. Today was London Derby going to White Hart Lane. We got battered there 5-3. Today we've taken 0-0 and we've started. I've seen performances have been improving, and I like that. And I like the fact that I am seeing improvement within a team. That performance wouldn't be misplaced or like last season, for instance, if we were at the back end of last season when we were going in for points. You know, I think that's a more mature display, and I don't think we got dominated today by Spurs. You know, we kept Harry Kane, who's probably one of the best strikers in the Premier League at the moment. You know, he's bang on form. We kept him quiet. I know he had a few chances, but he never really done what he done last year. You know, so I think without John Terry, without players like Ramirez, you know, Diego Costa didn't feature for the entire game. So I think you know, it's good. On
the sorry to cut you off, but on the subject of Costa, I thought it was quite pathetic. Personally.
Yeah, I hated that reaction from him. I hated it. It's not even like, even if he's just doing it, even if it's, I was sitting next to my dad, I was like, because it was right near the end, wasn't it? And I was like, even if that's not what it looks like, you're just, BT Sport will show that, and it'll be on the back page of tomorrow's, and it'll be all over, and a decent 0-0, is going to be taken out of context. And is this the reason Diego Costa is going to leave Chelsea? Now it just builds up, and it just doesn't help the situation. And Diego Costa, because all players need to be treated differently. You can't just give tough love to all players. Sometimes some players have to to put the arm around the shoulder. You know, you have to be quite nice to some players, and you know they react in if this is what is to kick up the backside that Diego Costa needs to get him back to form, then I have no problem with it. I don't like the reaction from him because it's disrespectful to Jose. It's disrespectful to the team who put in a good performance. You know, and him acting like that is very immature. And it's not. It doesn't reflect well on the club. It doesn't reflect well on us as supporters. You know, it doesn't look good. We will support Diego, but his reaction when he throws a bib, like a little temper tantrum because you ain't getting on the pitch today. You know, it doesn't reflect well. So I want to see Diego, if he does get back in the team next week, if Jose sees that. And his staff shows him that, because I think it's clearly going to be replayed 1,000 times. That's just the way it is with Chelsea. He could be finding himself outside the team. And as we know, I said it in my Let's Talk Chelsea on Thursday, Chelsea have given Diego Costa about, 2-3 weeks to prove that he is a striker. He starts doing stuff like that. That's just not going to help his situation. Louis, what do you think?
I completely agree with you. Personally, if I was Mourinho, I'd probably be showing him the door in January. I mean, I'm the sort of person who is... I don't take any crap. It is sort of, if you do something stupid, you will be punished for it. And I don't want a player who, let's be honest, even if he did score against Norwich last week, has been awful. He's not been, since January, he's not been great. But this season, it's really come to prominence because we haven't had the players. He hasn't had the players who were scoring systematically last season, and they're not performing as well this season. And then he's getting picked out. He scored, what we were talking about it last week. It was 6, 7 goals in 28 games. That's not the form of a good striker.
I think it's 4 goals. 4 goals.
4 goals. That's it. Well, says it all then, doesn't it? Really says it all. You know, if you're going to throw your toys out of the pram because you're not playing and you've been poor, Maccabi being a prime example last week. Norwich, even though he did score, He had some poor positioning where he would wait for a cutback where if you're the centre forward, you should be on that 6-yard box waiting. The cutback wasn't going to come, so Hazard went to the edge and put it straight across the front of goal. Costa last season would have gobbled that up at the beginning of last season. That would have been a goal.
I think even Torres is worse would have, because that's bread and butter for a striker. Do you know the movement? That is absolute. There was a picture that was on Tuesday. I thought Costa had his worst game in the Chelsea shirt on Tuesday, in my opinion. Just his movement was absolutely awful all day. The best thing he did was commit Ben-Aim to give him a red card, but that's the only thing he did in the game. The problem is with Diego, I think at the moment, is he's coming out he's turning into a winger, and that's why I think Jose was actually right to play no striker today, because if Diego's just going to go out to the wing, you're missing a player in central, and luckily I think those players had good movement within the. Sorry, what were you going to say, Louis?
Well, no, sorry, carry on. Good movement and all that sort of stuff. But I thought it went well, but there were instances where when Hazard was up top or when whoever was up top, they kept their shape. But there was instances where if it was Costa, he would have put pressure on the centre halves. So whereas Hazard just sat off and let Alderweireld, Vertonghen and Danny Rose and Kyle Walker just play it along the back, you would have had Costa, who would have been, before the first pass was made by Alderweireld or Vertonghen to get to the other side, he would be there. He'd be not giving them the opportunity. And there's stuff like that where I'd be, guys, come on, why aren't you chasing that down? Just Hazard, chase that ball. Chase it. You've got to pressure them. And they weren't having the pressure. Remy wasn't there because he's had a kid. So congratulations to him. But next week, I'd definitely, if he's about, obviously, because he's just had a kid, he might not be. He might be on paternity leave. But if I would start Remy against Bournemouth. And personally, I'll bring back Bamford as well.
Yeah, I've said that before. I think Bamford's just, you see it another more proof yesterday. Just he ain't going to get a chance at Palace, and especially with the way they're playing. I think it's going to be tougher for him. So really, I don't see the problem in bringing him back, because even if he's going to come back and he only plays in the FA Cup, he's going to get more game time than he is. Let's give him more game time than he will actually have. I don't know what the agreement is with Palace. Sometimes it's a year loan and they can't bring him back. But hopefully there's something that Chelsea, because then you've just. Even I know Chelsea will probably try and invest in a striker, but even if we don't get another striker, you stop playing Remy more, because I think if Remy doesn't continue to play, I think for him as a player, he'd probably want to leave in January because he just isn't getting a chance. I know today I was wondering why he wasn't on, and you just explained why he wasn't there. So, I mean, I think we definitely did. We were lacking something up front, but I think the way is just for me. I think. If Costa was there and on the form he is, and if I'm taking it off of what he did on Tuesday, then for me, it probably would just been the same thing where, he would have pressed down defenders, but he probably would have been out on the wing. And you know what I mean? Because Hazard would probably be left wing, we'd have no one in up front. I think the good thing with the movement today was sometimes Pedro was in there in the middle. Sometimes Willian was there. Mostly it was between Hazard and Pedro. I thought Pedro actually looked quite bright today. I think. Yeah. He looked for me. He looked the player who was going to get us a goal. Unfortunately, he just couldn't get a shot on target.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely, like you're saying, he couldn't get a shot on target. He definitely looked like the sort of player who could get us a goal, but like you said, he just couldn't get a shot on target. It was as simple as that. If he was having digs where he could have brought someone else into play, like you had Hazard, Oscar, or Willian running off him, like sort of almost going, here, I'm drawing players, there's space, go for it. Instead, he goes and he was hitting it and skying them over the bar. Yes, I felt he was dangerous today, but like he lacks that finishing product. I mean, when we were talking about it when we first signed him, I wouldn't have thought this is what it would be like. I thought when we were saying, coming as a substitute, what a goal every 3 games at Barcelona, that's decent form. I wasn't expecting someone who, if he's given the opportunity, he hits it from outside the box and he skies it. That's not even if he was dangerous today, which I completely agree with. Like, nobody take this out of context. I mean, yes, he was dangerous, but he kept missing opportunities, or he kept just snatching at the ball and going over the bar. And we didn't have that. We had, like you're saying, because we don't have a striker, we lacked that final, that power and that movement in the final third. And I think, Hazard had some decent opportunities. Willian, Fabregas, I thought played okay today. There were some things.
I'm not sure. I'm not
Well,
sure.
no, that's why I say okay. I don't say.
I was just funny enough. I was just going to come on to that because I think we should talk about best player and worst player for Chelsea today. Best players. I'd start with worst player. I personally think Fabregas was. If you're going to pick someone out as someone who, for me, didn't have his best day, was Fabregas, and it's a bit of a shame because I thought he actually went forward last week. But I was worried every time he got the ball because he just slowed the play down, would lose the ball, would make a loose pass. I think there was a few times where he'd get the ball in central midfield and try and lay it off to Azpilicueta and would overhit it, and the ball would go out and it'd be a Tottenham throw.
Yeah.
So personally, I know people. I know we were saying earlier about Ivanovic, yeah, but like I don't think you can give him the worst player. I think for me, if you pick out a player who, for me, didn't have his best day, I think it's clearly Fabregas in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that's why I said okay, because obviously he wasn't his best.
If you're comparing him to Hazard, it's like
if you're comparing to who I personally I thought the best player today, Begovic was definitely, I'd say, in goal. He saved us in that first half. Even he got kicked in the head and he was still going. I thought he was our best player personally. Pedro, like you said, was good. At least he's shooting the ball. I saw in the comments, which is true. At least he was shooting the ball, but he still wasn't hitting it. I thought there was no one that really sticks out for me as our best player today. Because
I don't think on neither side you could say there was one player that stood out. It's a 0-0,
yeah,
and
exactly.
as you said, I'm sure for the neutrals it was quite a dull game. I think BT must have been absolutely annoyed because they got 5-3 last year and now they get 0-0, which is quite funny. But no, I think overall, yeah, there definitely is a clear cut. And when it comes to, I know on commentary they gave out. How do you say his name? Alderweireld? Is that how you say his name?
Alderweireld, yeah.
Yeah, gave him, and I was not really that bothered because it was like you have to give one of the defenses man of the match. I think probably, if you're thinking defensively, I thought Matic did quite well today. Once again, breaking up the play, doing what he's there to do, just doing the simple things. I think, as we talked about on here before, before he was trying to do stuff that just isn't within his game, trying to take it past few players. He's doing the simple things at the moment, and that's working out for him. So if he continues to do stuff like that, he'll help us out long term. Yeah, I probably would give it to Begovic. He did make that save from Dembele in the first half, which is probably the toughest one he had to make. When Dembele got past Fabregas in a low shot, which Begovic saved. So
that's the thing I was talking about. Like when you say Fabregas wasn't great today, that's the exact situation which came to mind. He wasn't tracking his man. The free kick came in, or the goal corner, and then Dembele just got the ball, went with it, and Fabregas went, "Oh, don't worry, they've got it, it's fine," and just stood off. You always it wasn't zonal marking. You could see that straight away. If you're doing man marking, you track your man, whoever it is and wherever he is. You don't just say, "Oh, don't worry, someone else will do it. It's fine," because that is how you lose the ball, and that's how other teams score. He just stopped and stood back and was like, "Oh, don't worry, they've got it." And you'll see it. It's almost he tracks it. He moves, and then as soon as he gets into that penalty area or just through it, he just stops. He's like, "Oh, don't worry, they've got it." His body language goes from this to that, just straight away, and that's what I when you say he was woeful and he wasn't great today, I would personally agree with that. That's why I say he was okay. He did a couple of things like that back heel he did that get to give it to. I thought that was brilliant. I thought, oh, that's great. That's what you like to see. But the simple stuff he was doing wrong. So like you're saying, the misplaced passes, that's stuff which we paid 32 million or now probably in excess of with all the add-ons. It is That's not what we paid for. We paid for somebody who could pass the ball, and he has been poor. When Ruben Loftus-Cheek came on, I was expecting Fabregas to go off personally. So I was disappointed when Pedro came off because personally, I think we could have pressed a little bit more. And I kept getting nervous towards the end when they kept getting further forward because we were starting to almost retreat back into our own box, and Fabregas wasn't tracking back or as well as he could have done. But I mean, yeah, he wasn't great today at all. But I think it's a case of we need to. It's almost another rebuilding process that we have to do, because this is moving away from the result. But I mean, today the overall result that was good. I'm happy with that. getting a point. We didn't lose. So obviously we're starting to rebuild and it's starting to go well. We do need to look into a striker or a centre-back and that midfield. We just basically need a spine. And I think Zuma's the start of that. You need someone who can partner Zuma. We need a playmaker, which we have in Oscar, but Oscar's not a deep-lying one that Mourinho likes to utilise.
Can I just give you a solution that you don't have to spend any money on, that you can develop?
Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Ruben Loftus-Cheek.
Exactly.
No, that's the thing. I mean, you don't even have to go and spend money to do that. You just you start playing him. So before we end this, I want to give some credit to someone who probably is going to shock a load of people. Michael Oliver. I know this may be shocking, yeah, but I want to give some praise to the referee because I don't think we do it enough. And I think that he actually had quite a good game today. I thought he was consistent. I think every time, I think the bookings for Spurs players were bang on. I think it was nice to see, because I think too many times I've seen in games where you just see every one of those Spurs booking were a booking. They were clear-cut bookings, and I was happy that he did that. And I think overall, on both sides, I think the referee had a good game today. I don't think he made sure that he didn't have loads of decisions to make, but I think we should give some praise to the ref when it's just so people don't come back to me and say you never praised the ref. I'll praise the ref today because I thought he made the right decisions and I thought he was consistent. So some praise to Michael Oliver, which is quite rare for a referee. But we move on from that. Overall today, I think I had dreams of Willian scoring the winner today. But unfortunately, that didn't happen. I think eventually he will score against Tottenham. It's gonna happen. I think it's not a massive step forward, and sure there are still issues within the team that need to be addressed. But let's be honest, coming into this game, I think most people would have taken a point. Spurs haven't gone in front of us in any way. We've kept them where they are. Sure, it's 2 points dropped, but going to a place like Tottenham, as they said, you look at the record they have recent in London derbies. The Harry Kane does, kept all those players quiet. And I thought defence looked more solid. So, going forward, Louis, I think, of course, we don't want to see this. We don't want to see this result replicated next week. But I actually think if you look at the next 5 games, I think we've got a good chance. I mean, of course, I include Porto within that. But in Premier League terms, I think we've got a decent run of games now. We've got Bournemouth at home, Leicester away, Sunderland at home, Watford at home. And then the toughest one of them all looks like United away. I know Leicester, of course. But I think we've got quite a decent run of games now.
Yeah.
If we can get off up for that Leicester game, that'd be a good win if we could go up there and get some points there. But what do you think of because I think this is definitely not a massive step forward. If we would have won today, massive step forward. But the fact that we've come away, the performances of certain players like Hazard look a lot better. I thought Hazard actually going backwards today. I thought him defensively, I thought he done his job. I thought he worked well, and I thought he harassed quite well. He's not a striker, and he never will be. But I thought centrally, he actually was more freer. I mean, maybe putting him centrally actually does help him a lot in future games. Maybe actually putting him in that number 10 position. But going forward, do you feel more definitely after the last 3 performances, more positive?
Yeah, of course I do. Of course I do. After the past 3 performances, what two wins and a draw against Spurs, who are they've gone, including today, 13 Premier League games unbeaten. Of course I'm happy with that. Why wouldn't I be? Obviously, we just need to build on it. And like you're saying, it is a decent game around. United, Porto, Leicester are all 3 very difficult games at the minute. I mean, Ranieri knows how to set up a team. He was like, he knew, even if he liked to tinker a lot, and we called him the Tinker Man, he knew how to set up a team. And he's proven that in other leagues as well. Maybe he didn't do so well in Greece as a Greek national manager. However, with Leicester this season, he's proven what he can do with a team who were, at this point of the season, they'd gone without a win for 3 months, I think it was. And they won, I think it's in December last season was their first win in 3 months. And to go from that to be, in this calendar year, the team with the most points in the Premier League is absolutely mental. It's great to see what we can do. So that's going to be a difficult game. Porto is always going to be difficult. It's Champions League. However, if we get behind the team at Stamford Bridge, I think they can definitely do some damage. I think it could be similar to Kiev, where it was a close game, but I think we can come through and get those points to get us out of that group and do really, really well. Maybe finish top of the group. But Manchester United away is going to be the most difficult one, I think, without a shadow of a doubt. But in terms of the other games, so Bournemouth, they're a team that like to play football. So I'd start with the team that we had today personally, because if we can just attack them and make them sit, then they're going to have issues dealing with it, because they like to play football. They like open, expansive play, because that's what helped them make them do so well in the Championship last season. And I don't think Eddie Howe has quite grasped that the players that did really, really well for him in the Championship last season, he needs to sort of adapt them, and he needs to adapt his game plan for the Premier League, because it's not as open and expansive the Championship is. If you play like that in the Premier League when you just got promoted, you're going to have issues. So we should get 3 points out of that easily. Then we like Leicester. That's, like I've said, that's going to be difficult. Porto's difficult. Sunderland, we should win that. And I know how much you hate them. We should win that. But it's difficult to say, because I don't like to talk about Sunderland, because obviously what they did with Mourinho, making him have his lose his unbeaten home run. But it's difficult to say. We should win that game. We should win that game easily. And Watford are a difficult team to break down, but we should win that as well. So that's not easily 9 points out of a possible 18, and I think that should be okay for us.
Yeah, I mean, I still think we should go by the philosophy at the moment of taking one game at a time. But it's definitely, I think, positive to come out of this game not losing. So there's no talk of crisis, and we can go forward and look at the next couple of games. Sure, there are some tough ones in there. There always are going to be. And, even against Bournemouth, it could be a tough game. But as you've just laid out, I think definitely, I mean, I've talked on my channel about how I don't think Bournemouth tactically adapt. They got a good result yesterday, but I think Everton, Everton likes to play open, expansive football as well. So,
yeah,
so hopefully we can get it's at home at the Bridge. So if we continue to play well, hopefully Hazard can get his goal of the season, because I think he deserves it over his improvement in performances. Overall, yeah, that's our thoughts, guys. So as I say, fan cams will be up very soon. As I say, in the comments, guys, let me know your opinions on the match, how you went, what you think of what we talked about today, the different subjects, all that good stuff. You can follow me personally on Twitter at @Chelsea. Also, you can check out my channel where I will be doing a review of the game. Also, check out Louis' Twitter at Louis de Buglow. I know very soon you're going to be having that YouTube channel.
So I will indeed.
Very soon. So keep tabs on his Twitter. Go and follow him. I'm sure he'll keep you updated on here and also on his Twitter. Make sure to subscribe to 100% Chelsea. I know we're quite close to 13k subscribers. I think
we are.
So I went on and it said it's 13k, but I don't think we're there yet. But hopefully,
drum roll, please, my friend. Drum roll, please.
Are we there yet? I don't think we are yet. I've drum roll.
12,522. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.
Please subscribe. We want to get to 13k. Hopefully, maybe 15k by Christmas. Maybe I'm being a little bit too ambitious, but thank you guys for all your continued support on this channel. All the social media links will be in the description below. As I continue to say, fan cams will be up shortly. Go and enjoy them. Go and have a nice chilled Sunday, because our weekend hasn't been ruined this weekend. Up the Chelsea. See you soon, guys.